Boyfriend's parents don't approve because I don't spend enough time with them. 30F plus 31M. I've been with my boyfriend for over 3 years. About a year ago, his parents were really upset because they felt I had ghosted them. I had just gone through a really busy season focusing on my career and purchasing a house solo. I had responded to every message they sent me during that time, but they consider ghosting the fact that I didn't reach out to them on my own during this time. For almost a year, they completely cut me off because of this. They stopped responding to anything I sent, ironic to me with the ghosting accusation, and said I wasn't welcome in their home. Then, out of nowhere, they were fine and it's like nothing happened. We hung out a few times and everything was fine and without tension. Now we've gone and purchased a ring and they are upset again. They don't think he should marry me because I haven't prioritized a relationship with them. I'm so frustrated by the whole thing and it's making me second guess and doubt everything. I know I love my boyfriend and that I want to marry him, but I don't know that I want to marry into a family that is going to put me on this roller coaster for the rest of my life. Am I unreasonable? Is prioritizing a relationship with in-laws like this normal? So what does your boyfriend have to say about this and why hasn't he told his parents to stop being asses? I'm telling you right now, no matter how wonderful your boyfriend is, it's not worth marrying into a family that's toxic. Having in-laws that hate you is not worth it. If your boyfriend isn't immediately shutting this down, then he's not the person to marry. Can you imagine how entitled and overbearing they would be if you actually married into their family? And where is your boyfriend in all this? You're not marrying your in-laws. Does your boyfriend stick up for you when his parents criticize you? It sounds like they feel upset that you're not dating them right along with him, and no, that is not normal. If you are kind and polite when you're in their company, I personally don't even think you need to give them access to your phone and social media, especially if not responding immediately, and never initiating convos with them is enough to set them off. But ultimately, this is your BF's problem to resolve. He needs to let his folks know that either they can accept and learn to love you as his future wife, or they can expect to see both of you far less often in the future. Cutting people off can work both ways. My girlfriend, 32F, needs space and moved in with her mom after I, 31M, lost my dad to suicide 6 months ago. My girlfriend, 32F, needs space after I, 31M, lost parent to suicide 6 months ago. We've been together for 7 years. I feel like we had an awesome relationship. I love this girl to the end of the world. She really is my person. I'd like to think I am hers. I was going to marry this girl one day. Everything went to shit 6 months ago, after my dad committed suicide. As you can expect, this hit us hard. She loves my parents as well, so she was definitely also affected. And she had a hard time seeing me in pain. I tried protecting her by distancing myself slightly on my bad days. A month ago we had a chat where she mentioned that she needed my behavior to change. I was making her feel alone and undesired. I understood, and took our chat as a wake-up call. I changed for the better, to my old ways. She confirmed we were doing better and thanked me for it. Anyway, a week ago my mom was admitted in a ward after an attempt. As you can expect, this hit me hard, and I fell back into my bad ways. I saw the panic in my GF's eyes. She wrote me a letter saying she loves me very much but needs space. She told me she needs time to reset her own headspace and needs me to do the same. She doesn't want to hurt me. She moved in with her mom. She can't tell me when, or even if, she's going to return. The drive to drop her off was terrible. I wrote her a letter back the same day. I apologized and told her me making her feel this way was never my desire. I feel horrible that she felt this way. Either way, I had a panic attack. For the first time in my life. Missing her probably being the trigger. I'm terrified of losing her as well. Thinking about that is way worse than my parents. She freaked out when she heard about my panic attack. We're still communicating. She hopes the panic attack was my wake-up call. She was happy to hear that I was going to get professional help. She was open to joining my therapy sessions. She told me she needs me to get my life back on track, even if she decides not to return. I want to do everything to salvage the relationship. To get through this stronger. I'm not quite sure where to go from here. As I mentioned, we're still communicating. I asked her if she would be open for date nights on specific days, while she's staying with her mom. She was going to think about it. Where do I go from here? Do I update her regarding my progress? Do I go less contact, no contact to give her space? All advice is welcome. I mean, what are your old ways? Like, what do you do for her to think it's so bad she had to leave? Something very traumatic not too long ago, and that'll make anyone lose their mind. If I were your girlfriend, I would be questioning my choice to be with someone who kept their grief from me, especially if I was also grieving. I would want to be sad with that person, not left all alone. I'm not saying that to guilt trip you, op. My point is, you need to find a way to open up to her if you want to save the relationship. Therapy is definitely a good idea. First of all, I'm really sorry for your loss. To give you advice, we need a little bit more of information. Are you in therapy for your dad passing? What were your coping mechanisms? What do you mean that you fell back into your bad ways? Are you using any kind of substance? Drinking? You should focus on you, not your relationship. There is no relationship to get back to if there is no you. Take this time to heal, to understand your feelings, to create a healthy coping mechanism. For what I understand, she was your rock, but a partner is not your psychologist. They shouldn't have to take the burden to take you out of a hole. They can be there for you, but your mental health is your responsibility, and you need a professional to help you deal with it. I'm confused. She felt abandoned emotionally by you, so her solution is to abandon you? You're together 7 years and 6 months of grief makes her leave you? You, my friend, have dodged a bullet. Get that therapy and move on. Put the relationship on the back shelf for now. Have some sessions with your therapist before you make any decisions. Let her be a friend to you for now, but you've got no business trying to do the work of a relationship right now. I'm so sorry for your loss, and for all the pain you're going through right now. Mike, 26F, boyfriend, 26M, and I had this conversation and I don't know what to make of it. Mike, 26F, boyfriend, 26M, and I were talking a few nights ago. I don't remember how the conversation began, but he initiated it. He said, my ex was so pretty. I don't usually show her pictures because people get jealous. I simply acknowledged this. He continued talking about his ex, so I eventually said, let me see the pictures. He showed me a couple. They were just typical photos of 2 teenagers, nothing special. I'd actually seen them on social media before, so it wasn't a big deal. Then he said, I think she was naked in this one picture. I replied, oh, okay. I had assumed it was just a picture of legs. The conversation about his ex ended there, but it's been on my mind all day. I'm more confused than anything. If his ex is so jealousy-inducing, why bring her up and show me pictures of her? Why did he feel the need to point out her nakedness? I would have just seen legs and moved on, but now I can't stop thinking about it. He's trying to make you jealous. I love that you avoided his silly trap. He's trying hard to make you feel insecure. OFFS. I just noticed the ages. It reads like your boyfriend is still a teenager. Was it show and tell in regards to the pictures? Were you supposed to pull out a pic of a naked ex with a big D and mention how pretty it was? He's still in love with her and at the same time wants you to be jealous. Normal people who are over their exes don't do things like that. That's an odd thing to do. Maybe he is trying to see how you react. Probably nothing unless he is getting in contact with her. Unlikely because those things are usually kept secret. I suppose the best thing to do is go to the source and ask why this is something he wants to discuss with you. He likes drama or dislikes, resents you and wants a fight. Mike, 28F, boyfriend, 29M, expects me to wait 6+ years before we can start planning our life together? I just need some other perspectives and thoughts. To break it down, I have been with my boyfriend for a little shy of 2 years. We started off agreeing to a casual relationship to see how things went, but as time moved on we agreed to take things more seriously. Despite starting causal, I have been clear as to what I'm looking for in a life partner from the start, and we seem to agree on a lot of life goals both individually and as a couple, hence things getting more serious. His living situation is where it gets sticky. He inherited his house from his mom's mom and was living by himself for a few years before he invited his mom to live with him. She was in a 10+ year relationship that my boyfriend deems toxic and he thought her moving in would allow her to leave that behind. So she fully moved in, but still spends a lot of time at the toxic dude's house. Since my BFS house was inherited, there is a lot of stuff in there. Between the person who owned it beforehand, my boyfriend living there, and now his mom, it's just full of things and it's cluttered, outdated, and dusty. Most rooms have piles of things everywhere, and there are some rooms that can't even be used because they're filled to the brim. I have been trying to have conversations with him about what will happen to the house and what we can do to set his mom up the best we can so we can start figuring out our life together. Right now it still feels very casual, and like we're not growing together. Every time it's brought up he gives me the timeline of the house and his mom's situation being figured out 6 years from now, even though there is no plan of action or progress really being made. Any progress made seems to be started by myself. I am trying to be empathetic of his mom's situation, and I can understand the house is no small undertaking, but I think it's crazy that he's expecting me to wait 6+ years for him to even begin to plan things with me. I feel like I'm being unreasonable since it is a lot to figure out, but without even a trace of a plan. It's just scary for me to sit around and hope it works out in that timeline. I'm also a renter, so I'm trying to navigate that while he's just sitting pretty with this house. Which I'm so happy for him to not be in a renter's position. Yes, I was invited to live with him and his mom, but for reasons I would prefer not to say, that just wouldn't work out. I'm not trying to be selfish, but it breaks my heart that he's just okay with me waiting that long. Again, while no progress is really being made, I don't want to kick his mom out, by any means, but I'm not sure if I see a future with her not heavily involved, unfortunately. Also found out his last long-term relationship of 5+ years ended because she was also wanting the same things and he just never budged. So red flag, right? On top of that, he recently told me that he was hoping things with us would just fall into place, but I don't understand that because it takes work for two people to form a life together, right? Just feeling all over the place and would love some takes on this. I feel like the only answer is for me to let him go even though this is the only hang-up we're having. I'm sure I'm missing things so I can edit as needed, thank you. Too long did not read. My boyfriend needs to figure out what to do with his house and mom before he can plan things with me, but is telling me I have to wait 4-6 years. Is it fair of me to end things over that timeline? No progress has been made on his situation. Edit. Thank you everyone. I already knew what I had to do. Ya girl is about to be a single lady. Manifest for me that I find a good one when I'm ready. Lol. Seriously, thank you. 4 to 6 years is an unreasonable time frame in my opinion, but it is your opinion that counts. You don't have to get the things you want immediately, but you have to be moving towards them. Why do you think you need permission here? My friend's ex did this to her. Said they'd get married in 5 years and start a family. Guess what happened after the 5 years? He wanted to extend it another 4 years. By that time she was 32. She left him and met her now husband, I wanna say 7 months later. She's got the life and family she's always wanted and her husband is freaking great. He's using his mom and his house as an excuse. They are handy barriers to put between himself and commitment to you. If he wanted more, he would be making it happen. He isn't helpless. He is actively choosing to use his mom and the house as excuses that keep you around with no more commitment than you have now. This may have been your best relationship so far, but you can still do better. You could wait the 6 years and then be told to waste another 4-6 years. He could string you along for a decade if you keep him. I would let him know the 4-6 year timeline is too much and tell him you'll be moving on. And possible in 4-6 years if you find yourself single and he has his shit together, you'll reconsider. But chances are you will have found someone to grow with and live a happy life together. Sorry to hear about your situation. You're not a passenger here. What are your goals and timelines? Figure that out and tell him. At your ages, if he's not ready to move forward at 2 years, I'd be cutting my losses. Especially if having kids is one of your goals. It would be strange for inheritance of the house to skip a generation. Are you sure it is the mom living in his house rather than the son living in the mom's house? The 4-6 years timeline also sounds questionable. Is the mom's boyfriend expected to magically become less toxic in around 5 years? Either her situation will be fixed now, or it never will. Unless she has a terminal disease, he expects to finish her off in 4-6 years. It sounds like your boyfriend could be a bullshitter. Maybe his last girlfriend found out the truth?